EdSped. Hello, EdSped 5014. This is my second vignette, and this week we've been talking about continuing our conversation on curriculum, how to make adaptations for the curriculum. So I wanted to share with you a book that I made for one of my students who has autism, was moving into a new district, and we wanted to figure out a way to make the transition as smoothly as possible. So instead of sending 5 million reports, which we ended up still sending because that's the law, I made him a book, and he learned how to read some of the book, and he was real pleased with it. So let me share some of it with you. It says, "Hello, my name is Nicholas Madsen." Then we've got some of his strengths. Here's a short list of my many strengths. I'm a hard worker. I love music. I'm very social. I have a great attitude about school. I'm well-mannered. And I'm really fun to be around. Totally true. So we didn't want them to have to try when they were doing their assignments. We didn't want them to have to use trial and error of things that we've already done. Why reinvent the wheel? So we have in our book things like, this is how I would practice my H. There's a theory that if you use big letters and big arm movements and then go down to little, that helps. So we said this didn't work, but this worked. And what we did was we found if we used yellow vellum or yellow paper for reading, that would help his reading and his writing. So here we're sharing our modifications and accommodations for his reading and his writing. This shows that he needed to use a slant board. And we've got the yellow vellum. And vellum is just like a plastic. This talks about that we've tried this keyboard. It's a Big Keys keyboard. It didn't really work that well, but our next step in the keyboard was going to try to be using a Big Keys, but with different colors because he has some issues with figure ground. This page talks about some life skills of his. He had a hard time holding the plate with one hand and using the other to eat. We put a non-sticky placemat down. He had this low tone, so we made his fork bigger. His plate stuck to the placemat and thus wouldn't move around. This also lists some issues that he has while eating, and they are things such as things that he's really working hard on, like eating off other people's plates. So we gave him the orange, and parents bought one for when they went out to picnics, and he could only eat off the orange placemat with the blue plate, and they would also take that to restaurants. This is what the PT contributed, and she's showing how he used the flip method to wear a coat, to put on a coat. This talks about how if there's stairs in the building, he needs a visual. He just sees a ramp. So this talks about him needing visual assistance to get up those ramps. This shows chairs that didn't work and chairs that do work for him. This is a list of his activities of daily living, toileting, taking his backpack off, what he needs verbal cues with, physical cues, what he's independent in. And then this is really a collaborative effort. We had myself as the occupational therapist, we had the physical therapist, the speech therapist. We also had his outside therapist do a sensory problem worksheet. So we have behavior listed. If you see this, for example, hand flapping, why it happens, he could be overstimulated, and what to do. So decreasing the stimulation, turning off lights, and so forth. This talks about him having a hard time in transitioning, in focusing. So it shows that he used this foam cushion with a vibrating snake. Also talks about him using social stories for transitions and sensory breaks throughout the day. This is his fine motor box. Since he was low strength and low tone, this is what he could use for that. This is his favorite part, and this is the part he would read to his new classmates. My favorite things to do at school are talk to my friends, talk to the adults who work with me, read books, and music class. In the general education, Mom felt it really important to share that he was included in the general education. He also did library, he did science, and he listened to read aloud. And so he would read these pages to the class. He had a very successful transition. All went very well. And the director, special ed director from the incoming school district called our special ed director and said that was better than getting the mounds of paperwork that we usually get. So I hope you enjoyed this vignette. Maybe I'll do another one. But notice I wore lipstick this time, so my mother should be pleased. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later.